outside of the British Museum. Srila Prabhupada used to walk by here all the time, reading Bhagavatam. It's a bit chilly, so we're going to get on with it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Right, Canto 2, Chapter 5, Text 6, the chapters of cause of all causes. Text 6, whatever we can understand by the
Nomenclature.
Characteristics and features of a particular thing, superior, inferior, equal, eternal, or temporary, is not created from any source other than that of your Lordship, thou so great. Interesting. The manifested world is full of varieties of created beings, each meaning 400,000 species of life. And some of them are superior and inferior to others. In human society, the human being is considered to be the superior living being, and amongst the human beings there are also different varieties, good, bad, equal, etc. But Narada Muni took for granted that none of them has any source of generation besides his father Brahmaji. Therefore he wanted to know all about them from Lord Brahma. So this is the conversation now going on between Lord Brahma and Narada Muni, where he's inquiring about what is the cause of all causes, because he thinks it's his dad, Lord Brahma.
So nomenclature, the word that you had difficulty with, it means the process of giving a name to things, so the way that we name things, so kind of the origin of their name. Text 7. Yet we are moved to wonder about the existence of someone more powerful than you when we think of your great austerities and perfect discipline, although your good self is so powerful in the matter of creation. Purport. Following in the footsteps of Sri Narada Muni, one should not blindly accept his spiritual master as God himself. A spiritual master is duly respected on a par with God, but a spiritual master claiming to be God himself should at once be rejected. Narada Muni accepted Brahma as the supreme due to Lord Brahma's wonderful acts of creation, but doubts arose in him when he saw that Lord Brahma also worshipped some superior authority. The supreme is supreme, and he has no worshipable superior. The ahangrahopasita, or the one who worships himself with the idea of becoming God himself, is misleading. But the intelligent disciple can at once detect that the supreme God does not need to worship anyone, including himself, in order to become God. Ahangrahopasana may be one of the processes for transcendental realization, but ahangropasita can never be God himself. No one becomes God by undergoing a process of transcendental realization. Narada Muni thought of Brahmaji as the supreme person, but when he saw Brahmaji engaged in the process of transcendental realization, doubts arose in him, so he wanted to be clearly informed. So, nice purport about the principle of Guru and the position of Guru, that the Guru is on the par with God in the sense that he is to be treated as good as God, but he's not meant to be understood as God or to be accepted as God. In another place, Srila Prabhupada says, as soon as the Guru thinks he is God, he becomes dog. Like that.
You can see what a thin line it is, though, why people who are weak can succumb to the adoration, because even one person who flatters you...
You mean the gurus who are weak?
Yeah, so even one person that flatters you, you feel, oh, that's nice. Like, you know, they could say anything like, it's a nice dress or it's a nice bag or whatever, you know. And then if you get hundreds of people like having their pictures on your wall, you hear back, as soon as they see you, they're just like bow down, they offer you gifts, they look at you like in such a way that you will solve all their problems in life just by saying Hare Krishna. You know, they melt. Imagine how strong you've got to be to maintain some serious level of humility and feeling of I'm just dirt, I'm nothing. Krishna, you're God, you know, my guru, you're, you know. Because it's easy to get carried away. Not me, obviously, but... Text 8. My dear Father, you know everything and you are the controller of all. Therefore, may all that I have inquired from you be kindly instructed to me so that I may be able to understand it as your student. Papa, the inquiries made by Narada Muni are very important for everyone concerned, and as such, Narada requested Brahmaji to deem them suitable so that all others who may come in the line of disciplic succession of the Brahma Sampradaya may also know them properly without any difficulty.
Text 9. Lord Brahma said, my dear boy Narada, being merciful to all, including me, you have asked all these questions because I have been inspired to see into the prowess of the Almighty Personality of Godhead. Purport. Brahmaji, being so questioned by Naradaji, congratulated him, for it is usual for the devotees to become very enthusiastic whenever they are questioned concerning the Almighty Personality of Godhead. That is the sign of a pure devotee of the Lord. Such discourses on the transcendental activities of the Lord purify the atmosphere in which such discussions are held. There you go. And the devotees thus become enlivened while answering such questions. It is purifying both for the questioners and for one who answers the questions. The pure devotees are not only satisfied by knowing everything about the Lord, but are also eager to broadcast the information to others, for they want to see that the glories of the Lord are known to everyone. Thus, the devotee feels satisfied when such an opportunity is offered to him. This is the basic principle of missionary activities. So devotees become enlivened to hear about the Lord and broadcast the message. So, not that we just like to hear for ourselves, but we like to hear and repeat. So we like to share. So devotee means all about sharing Krishna with others, sharing the message of Godhead with others.
Text 10. Whatever you have spoken about me is not false, because unless and until one is aware of the personality of Godhead, who is the ultimate truth beyond me, one is sure to be illusioned by observing my powerful activities. Oh, the frog in the well logic illustrates that a frog residing in the atmosphere and boundary of a well cannot imagine the length and breadth of the gigantic ocean. Such a frog, when informed of the gigantic length and breadth of the ocean, first of all does not believe that there is such an ocean. And if someone assures him that actually there is such a thing, the frog then begins to measure it by imagination, by means of pumping its belly as far as possible, with the result that the tiny abdomen of the frog bursts and the poor frog dies without any experience of the actual ocean. Similarly, the material scientists also want to challenge the inconceivable potency of the Lord by measuring him with frog-like brains and their scientific achievements, but at the end they simply die unsuccessfully, like the frog.
Interesting. Different explanation. You know, we often hear Dr. Frog or the frog in the well analogy, but this is the only place I've heard Prabhupada describe how the frog gets, pumped up. His belly pumps up this big, that big, and then it bursts. Sometimes a materially powerful man is accepted as God or the incarnation of God without any knowledge of the factual God. Such a material assessment may be gradually extended, and the attempt may reach to the highest limits of Brahmaji, who is the topmost living being within the universe and has a duration of life unimaginable to the material scientist. As we get information from the most authentic book of knowledge, the Bhagavad Gita, Brahmaji's one day and night is calculated to be some hundreds of thousands of years on our planet. This long duration of life may not be believed by the frog in the well. But persons who have realization of the truths mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita accept the existence of a great personality who creates the variegatedness of the complete universe. It is understood from the revealed scriptures that the Brahmaji of this universe is younger than all other Brahmas, in charge of many, many universes beyond this. But none of them can be equal to the personality of Godhead.
Naradaji is one of the liberated souls, and after his liberation he was known as Narada. Otherwise, before his liberation, he was simply a son of a maidservant. The questions may be asked why Naradaji was not aware of the Supreme Lord, and why he misconceived Brahmaji to be the Supreme Lord, although factually he was not. The liberated soul is never bewildered by such a mistaken idea. So why did Naradaji ask all these questions? Just like an ordinary man with a full fund of knowledge. There was such bewilderment in Arjuna also, although he is eternally the associate of the Lord. Such bewilderment in Arjuna, or in Narada, takes place by the will of the Lord, so that other non-liberated persons may realize the real truth and knowledge of the Lord. The doubts arising in the mind of Narada about Brahmaji's becoming all powerful is a lesson for the frogs in the well, that they may not be bewildered in misconceiving the identity of the personality of Godhead, even by comparison to a personality like Brahma, so not to speak of ordinary men who falsely pose themselves as gods or incarnation of God. The Supreme Lord is always the Supreme, and as we have tried to establish many times in these purports, no living being, even up to the standard of Brahma, can claim to be one with the Lord. One should not be misled when people worship a great man as God after his death as a matter of hero worship. There are many kings like Ramachandra, the king of Ayodhya, but none of them are mentioned as God in the revealed scriptures. To be a good king is not necessarily the qualification for being Lord Ram. To be a great personality like Krishna is the qualification for being the personality of Godhead. If we scrutinize the characters who took part in the battle of Kurukshetra, we may find that Maharaj Yudhishthira was no less a pious king than Lord Ramachandra, and by character study, Maharaj Yudhishthira was a better moralist than Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna asked Maharaj Yudhishthira to lie, and Maharaj Yudhishthira protested. But that does not mean that Maharaj Yudhishthira could be equal to Lord Ramachandra or Lord Krishna. The great authorities have estimated Maharaj Yudhishthira to be a pious man, but they have accepted Lord Ram or Krishna as the personality of Godhead. The Lord is therefore a different identity in all circumstances, and no idea of anthropomorphism can be applied to him.
Anthropomorphism.
The Lord is always the Lord, and a common living being can never be equal to him. Basically.
Means we accept that God made man in his own image, and some people, those who believe in anthropomorphism, believe that man creates God in his own image. So we think God is human because we're human.
Right, but that's just dumb.
Okay. That explains it very scientifically. Yeah, of course. So, let's see how we get here. Okay, text 11. I create after the Lord's creation by his personal effulgence, known as the Brahmajyoti. Just as when the sun manifests its fire, the moon, the firmament, the influential planets, and the twinkling stars all manifest their brightness. Purport. Lord Brahmaji said to Narada that his impression that Brahma was not the supreme authority in the creation was correct. Sometimes less intelligent men have the foolish impression that Brahma is the cause of all causes. But Narada wants to clear the matter by the statements of Brahmaji, the supreme authority in the universe. As the decision of the Supreme Court of a state is final, similarly the judgment of Brahmaji, the supreme authority in the universe, is final in the Vedic process of acquiring knowledge, as we have already affirmed in the previous verse. Naradaji was a liberated soul. Therefore, he was not one of the less intelligent men who accept the false god or gods in their own ways. He represented himself as less intelligent, and yet intelligently presented a doubt to be cleared by the supreme authority, so that the uninformed might take note of it and be rightly informed about the intricacies of the creation and the Creator.
In this verse, Brahmaji clears up the wrong impression held by the less intelligent and affirms that he creates the universal variegatedness after the material potencies are created by the glaring effulgence of Lord Sri Krishna. Brahmaji has also separately given this statement in the Samhita known as the Brahma Samhita 5.4.40, where he says, I serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental bodily effulgence known as the Brahma Jyoti, which is unlimited, unfathomed, and all-pervasive, is the cause of the creation of unlimited numbers of planets, etc., of the varieties of climates and specific conditions of life.
Yasya prabhavato jagananda koti shesha vasudhati vibhuti vina tad brahmaniskalamanantam shesha bhutam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Okay, so the same statement is in the Bhagavad Gita 14:27. Lord Krishna is the background of the Brahma Jyoti, Brahmano hi pratishtaham. In the Nirukti, or Vedic dictionary, the import of pratishta is mentioned as that which establishes. So the Brahma Jyoti is not independent or self-sufficient. Lord Krishna is ultimately the creator of the Brahma Jyoti, mentioned in this verse as Swarochisa, or the effulgence of the transcendental body of the Lord. This Brahma Jyoti is all-pervading, and all creation is made possible by its power. Therefore, the Vedic hymns declare that everything that exists is being sustained by the Brahma Jyoti. Sarvam Kal Vidam Brahma. Therefore, the potent seed of all creation is the Brahma Jyoti, and the same Brahma Jyoti, unlimited and unfathomed, is established by the Lord. Therefore, the Lord, Sri Krishna, is ultimately the supreme cause of all creation. Aham sarvasya prabhavo.
One should not expect the Lord to create like a blacksmith with a hammer and other instruments. The Lord creates by his potencies. He has his multifarious potencies. Parasya Shakti Vividaivam Shruyate. Just as the small seed of a banyan tree has the potency to create a big banyan tree, the Lord disseminates all varieties of seeds by his potent Brahma Jyoti, Swarochisa. And their seeds are made to develop by the watering process of persons like Brahma. Brahma cannot create the seeds, but he can manifest the seed into a tree, just as a gardener helps plants and orchards to grow by the watering process. The example cited here of the sun is very appropriate. In the material world, the sun is the cause of all illumination, fire, electricity, the rays of the moon, etc. All luminaries in the sky are creations of the sun. The sun is the creation of the Brahma Jyoti, and the Brahma Jyoti is the wholeness of the Lord. Thus, the ultimate cause of creation is the Lord.
Well, there you go. Thus. And thus. So such a nice explanation of the creation in terms of analogy, that a tree distributes seeds with the potency to expand, as does the Lord by his energies. Also, an analogy of the sun is explained before. So like the sun also expands. very nice analogies to help us to understand. So we'll finish here, I think, as it is freezing cold, and
Yes.
my bottom sitting on this
Oh my God.
cold pavement is starting to go numb.
Okay, on that note, Hare Krishna.
Thank you all very much. Remember, Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, Part 1. We have many copies, or we have a few actually. They're running out quick. But let us know if you're interested. We'll get one to you. Take care. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.